So you all know me. For those that don't know me, especially for the Canadians, my name is Deacon Ani. I am I am originally born and brought up here in Chicago, and in my past 6-7 years, I've been living outside of Chicago. I've been in New York and currently now in Houston, where I am, there you go, Texas. Even though I don't have an agenda to promote Texas, like some people do. Hey, it's the only state that doesn't have taxes, a state tax. Huh? Okay, one of the few, okay. So, just a little bit about me. This past August, I've been given an opportunity to go to Houston and be a part of this medical center, the Houston Med Center, which is one of the biggest in the world, the largest in the world. I know that there's plans to make something even bigger than that. But, so I've been given this opportunity to go and do my residency in chaplaincy in the Med Center. And when I entered this program, I really didn't know kind of what chaplaincy was. I understood ministry. Ministry is building relationships and being accountable to others and walking with others. But I didn't understand the whole premise of what chaplaincy is. And so I entitled this workshop, I know it's supposed to be for a half hour, but I'm going to cut it down because I think it's very important to study. It's pastoral care in the midst of suffering. And the reason why I chose this is that in the past couple of months, we've seen the Malayali community get hit hard with various events. We've seen an Indian boy, we all know Praveen, who was here in Chicago. His life took a very sudden end. We have another Indian boy who is from, I believe he was studying in Houston. He went to Florida for spring break, and no one's seen him since. We've seen a Malayali girl in New York whose life suddenly ended. So the Malayali community has been traumatized by these various events. And so I thought that in this conference, we're talking about new creation. What does it mean to be a new creation? And I was thinking, how can I bring an aspect of new creation that's meaningful, that will act as a way to provide an insight into ministry to this generation and the generation to come. So I entitled this talk, Pastoral Care in the Midst of Suffering. So, anybody know why people go to a hospital? This is going to be an interactive session. Anybody know why people go to a hospital? Bunu. To get treatment for various illness, okay? Anybody else? Faith? Okay, to visit other family members who are in the hospital. So, in the hospital setting, people go there to get physically healed. Now, why do people come to church? To get spiritually healed. So, each and every one of us Doesn't matter what age, what grade in school you are, what part of your life you are in right now, we all are suffering. We all have our own shortcomings, our own trials, and our own tribulations. And this is where the pastoral care comes into work. When we encounter someone that's suffering, what do you think is our first response? To help. Our first response is to help. And I label that Messiah trap. Messiah trap is you are the only person that could fix that problem. If someone is lost a job, you feel that it's your responsibility to go and find that person a job. If someone is sick, your responsibility is to go and help that person get better. We fall into that trap. When someone suffers, our first instinct is to go help. What if I said the first instinct that we should do when someone suffers is to be present, is to be there? What would you think? If a family member has passed away, you think that the words that are coming from your mouth would resonate with them at that moment? No. Would you being there resonate with them? You would. See, this is the art of pastoral care, is being present. In the hospital, we work on calls. So we have 24-hour shifts, once a week. My regular shift is from 8 to 5. I have my own floors. I'm able to connect with the patients because they have a high acuity, which means that they've been in the hospital for days and days and days. But the challenge is when I work my 24-hour shift. During the day, we have about 17 chaplains there at that one particular hospital. But at night, you're the only chaplain. So your regular shift ends at 5 p.m., and then your on-call shift starts at 5 p.m. to 7 a.m., so it's a 24-hour shift. The hardest thing that I've ever had to encounter during my on-call shifts is how to prepare for a page. How to prepare for a death. How to prepare for a person that's coding and the family is there. The one thing I've recognized by going through this program was that the same people that I minister to in the hospital are the same people that I minister into the church. The same people that are in the hospital are the same people that are in the church. So how do I prepare? In the scriptures, we're all called to be in the royal priesthood. We all have this responsibility. We're all members of this one body. We all have to lift each other up. But instead of going into this Messiah trap, thinking that you have what it takes to fix that problem, the art is just being present. Being there in moments of hardships and trials. Now, one of the aspects that I use in pastoral care is this art called active listening. Anybody know what active listening is? Can you say a little bit louder? Good. Okay. That's one step. Jesu? Yes. As you know, Jesu has been through this. So Jesu would, I really invite your feedback. Active listening is you reply, reflect what the patient has said. I remember one patient who I got a page from the nurse, and the page was she said that, the patient in this room wants to talk to a chaplain. So, not knowing what's on the other side of the door, I walk up, I knock on the door, I say, my name is Chaplain Anish. I'm just here to come by and provide spiritual care, attend to your spiritual needs. This is a 56-year-old man and bawling. So in my mind, I'm thinking, one, he probably had bad news. Two, he's scared. Or three, there's something else wrong with him. So he opened up and he said, the doctor just came in and said that I have cancer. And by saying a word like, wow, that's hard. That's hard to hear, that you have cancer. By saying a word like that, it invites that person to reflect, to go deeper. In pastoral care, it's about that journey. You're journeying with that patient. You're journeying with that youth member. You're journeying with that young adult. It's through him saying that he has cancer, and by me saying that statement, wow, that's something that I can't imagine what you're going through, what the thoughts in your mind are. He goes in to say that my dad died from cancer, and I don't want to leave my family. It's by going through that journey that even though at that moment he saw no hope, in essence, that cancer was ruling his life. When the doctor came in and said that you have cancer, right then and there, his mind started to shut off, that this is the end. But through journeying with him, by providing active listening, by providing a presence, through this cancer, that patient found hope. That patient found hope. This newfound hope in his new life. That he didn't want this timer to start. He wanted to control that. My dear brothers and sisters, we face it every day. We face that in our schools, where our friends' parents may have cancer. Our church members may have cancer. just being present, being there in the time of their need. It's not when we're ready. It's when they're ready. This also works within the context of the youth group. I've been noticing this conference, and I don't know if you guys have noticed because I'm a big observer. Wherever we go, we tend to be in these cliques. Because for us, these cliques is a safe place. These cliques provide safety because the people that are around us know us. The people that are around us understand us. I was actually in one of my small groups we had this weekend. One of the members in my small group was saying that sometimes he feels bad when he doesn't go to church because there may be someone in church that may need his help, that may want him around to give guidance. And when we come to places like this, we're in a new environment. And as I said earlier, it doesn't matter how old we are, doesn't matter what grade we are in, it doesn't matter about our experience in ministry. We all are suffering. We all have that deep down hurt. And my philosophy is that if you are in that safe place, if you continue to be in that safe place, that hurt, that suffering will never surface. And what happens then, it just stays inside and it gets bigger and bigger. There's no outlet. But by being around people who are new, it provides an opportunity to meet them where they're at, be with them. When we come to this conference, we see these little kids. We see, how precious they are. It's so hard because they remind us of us. The kids that are in this room, when we look at them, for people like me who are older in age, I wish I could go back to my younger days, because there's a sense of freedom. There's a sense of how when you grow up, the older you get, the more responsibilities you get. But as kids, there's no responsibilities. You're free. You're a free spirit. And I see that. And I remember one of my patients. He was a 13-year-old boy. His name was Alex. He had leukemia. And I remember he was in the hospital for about little under 2 months. And me and him had talks, hours and hours long. And just talking about his life, his superheroes, his TV shows, his movies, his cars, his sports. I gained this connection with him. And I remember one night when I was on call, I got a page from the nurse, and I knew exactly that it was from his floor and that it was Alex that wanted to be seen. So I went into the room, and Alex is there. He's lying down, and he just has a smile on his face. And I just ask him, I see that you're smiling and you're in the hospital. Why is that? He says, it's going to be done. I'm going home. That night, he died. He was happy. That boy taught me more of life than I've gained in my 28 years here. When we're present with people who are suffering, we not only learn about them, we learn about ourselves. We learn about who we are. And there's 5 different types of ministry. And I'm going to conclude with this. There's 5 different types of ministry. There's the prophet. Prophet is someone who seems to be like an expert. So when we have people that have doctors in front of their names or PhDs under their names, or we see these people that have 2 pages of like acronyms after their name, it shows their educational values and it shows that how educated they are. They're a prophet. The second type is a wounded healer. And this is where I see many of us being a wounded healer, because I believe that we all been wounded at one time in our life or another. And a wounded healer uses their own pain to understand the woundedness of others. So the wounded healer uses their own pain, their own suffering, to understand the woundedness, the pain, and suffering of others. The third is something we call the wise fool. A wise fool is someone that pretends to know everything. And then we have the liberator. The liberator is a person that attunes to societal structures, such as poverty and healthcare. Someone who's like into politics or social justice will follow under this category. And the final type of ministry is the companion. And this companion is the person who says, I'm going to walk down with you the journey that you're going through. Wherever you're going, I'm coming with you. So those are the attributes of these types of ministries. But just as we have those attributes, we have the downsides. For the prophet, you pretend to be an expert when you're really not. And that you're giving the wrong information. This goes with our feeling to be right. I mean, how many of us here hate to be wrong? I think everyone here hates to be wrong. So thus, we would try to twist the information to sound right for our own sake. So thus, you're giving the wrong information. That's the downside of the prophet. The downside of the wounded healer is that you can be overwhelmed by the feelings that you carry. You could be overwhelmed with the feelings that you carried. This helps us in our ministry because for all of us that have been through college, we've been through those scenes, those party scenes, those scenes that really don't shine the light in our lives. But because of that, we've gotten wounded. And what happens is when we try to help others who are going through that same situation, the feelings that we've had, the thoughts that we've had when we've encountered that starts to overtake that relationship that you're trying to build with that person. So that's the downside of the wounded healer. The wise fool is a person that continues to say, I can't imagine what you're going through. If someone comes up to you and says, I lost my job. Because I lost my job, I had to sell my cars. I have to sell my house just to put food on the table for my kids. And a wise fool will be saying, I can't imagine what you're going through. That's a downside of a wise fool. So the upside was that you pretend to know everything. And the downside is the response. I can't imagine what you're going through. The liberator, the person who has societal structures of poverty and healthcare, the downside is you lack empathy, actual care. Anybody know what empathy is? What's empathy? Yes. Can you repeat that again? Walking in other people's shoes, knowing how they feel. When we encounter people that have difference of views, when we have politics or healthcare issues or poverty issues, we have our own agenda. And that comes to the surface. And then finally, the companion. The downside is, at what point do you start walking with that person? Because the longer you wait, the further that person will go without you. The shorter you wait, the more intrusive you become. It's about knowing yourself. It's about knowing the other person and using your instinct. So the point of all of this is to show that when we're called to be in the royal priesthood, we're called to be servants. When we're called to be servants, we're called to love one another. And I want to end with this one point. My philosophy in life is that when you see the cross, okay, so we have a vertical axis and a horizontal axis. The horizontal axis is the relationship between you and others. The vertical axis is the relationship between you and God. The relationship between you and God cannot be completed before the relationship between you and others is completed. And my philosophy is that the more a man is united with his neighbor, the more the man is united with God. I'll say it one last time. The more a man is united with his neighbor, the more that man is united with God. Thank you.